We're also discussing policy here in Washington, D.C. It's a key focus each and every day for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. And joining us in the studio tonight is Colin Woodall, Vice President of Government Affairs for National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks so much for being on the show, and thank you for having us in your hometown now of Washington, D.C.
Well, welcome. It's a little cool tonight, but it's an exciting time. There's a lot of things going on here in Washington right now at the end of this Congress.
Colin, we just had Representative Lucas on the show, and I'd like to get your perspective of the next Congress. What are you foreseeing as we turn the corner into January?
You know, as we look at the 112th Congress and the changes that are coming, the great thing is probably not what's going to happen, but what's not going to happen. You know, with the past 4 years under this Congress have been extremely hard for the cattle business. We've had things such as an attack on the way that we use vet medicines in animals. We've had an attack on our ability to market cattle. We've had an attack on our ability to use the land and the water bodies. The people who put those in place or tried to put those in place were really swept out of power in November. And so with the incoming new Congress, especially under the helm of folks like Chairman Lucas, we're going to find a Congress that's probably a little bit more receptive to the needs of cattle producers. And that's what excites us, because we're going to have that opportunity to really come in and, as the chairman alluded to, really kind of expose some of the things that we're seeing out of this administration that we know are going to make things hard for cattle producers. And if we can expose that and really get it out there, we know that we'll have an opportunity to beat those back.
Well, let's talk about these leadership changes. What kind of impact is it going to have on the cattle producer back home? Specifically, what are some of the things that you see or you think we'll see?
Yeah, huge impact just with the change in personalities.
Okay.
One of the greatest ones is when you look at the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. Right now, the chairman is a gentleman by the name of Henry Waxman. He's actually from Hollywood. Matter of fact, he's the congressman to the stars. He's the guy that has thrown a lot of things at the cattle industry. He tried to get cap and trade on us. He tried to put FDA inspectors on farm. He really doesn't appreciate what we do day in, day out to feed America. You know, he's no longer going to be in charge. And it's a change of personalities like that to folks that we just talked about who really understand what we're doing and understand that the cattle producers in this country, they get up early and they stay up late trying to make sure that we have a consistent supply of beef. And that's going to be much more understood and appreciated going into this new Congress. And like I say, that's what really excites us, because we've had some significant challenges.
You know, we've talked a lot on this show about issues like the death tax and gypsum and so forth. Tell us a little bit about what NCBA is doing to address some of those issues.
Yeah, you know, we do what we call retail lobbying in Washington, D.C. Our staff here, we spend all our days up on Capitol Hill, walking the hallways, talking to folks like Mr. Lucas and their staff, making sure that they understand our issues. What's important to cattle producers? What's really impacting our ability to stay on the land? Things from the death tax to greenhouse gases. These are all extremely important, but you can't really get your point across unless you're talking to them one-on-one. We know that cattle producers can't be up here every day. And so we live here so cattle producers don't have to. And make sure that we really get in there and explain to them not only what our industry is, but what we need. And it's because of that that NCBA has been so successful. So we really urge everybody who's watching out there right now, if you're not an NCBA member, join, because we still have a lot of fights. Even with this new Congress, we're going to see a lot of things coming out of the EPA and the FDA that are going to impact our bottom line. And to be effective, we all need to speak with one voice, and that's why NCBA is so critical here in Washington, D.C., because we do just that.
Colin, we thank you for what you do and the rest of your team does to represent all of us as cattlemen. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Kevin.
You bet. Support the work of Colin and NCBA. Just join us today by calling 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org.